Thank you for agreeing to feature on an episode of Untold Chapters. Would you like to introduce yourself and your book for our audience today?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, my name's Rich Sherwell. I'm a creative copywriter from West Sussex on the south coast of England. And this is my first ever book being published, a children's book entitled The Right Way Up, which is about a small flying giraffe named Ned.
What inspired you to create a world that your book is based on? Was there perhaps a specific moment or specific idea that sparked this concept for you?
To write a children's book has always been on my bucket list. It's something I've always wanted to do, and I've always kind of jotted down sort of ideas throughout my employment career in different sort of creative industries. And it was always kind of trying to find that something that's a little bit different from anything else that's out there. I guess that's kind of everybody's ultimate goal is to create something that's unique in a way. And the idea for the story actually came from a line in a song by a band who I'm quite interested in. They're called the Stereophonics, and the song is called Wouldn't Believe Your Radio. And there's actually a line in it that says, if I had myself a flying giraffe, I'd have one in a box with a window.
Hmm.
So that's kind of where the story sparked. That kind of sort of set off the light bulb in my head moment. And I thought, yeah, there's got to be something in that. So hence why the story is about a small flying giraffe. And he lives in a shoebox shaped cave that has one window.
Well, I mean, at least he's got the one, so it's not
Yeah.
completely enclosed.
No, exactly.
So, how did you craft the characters of Mimi and Budarelli to complement Ned's adventurous spirit?
So obviously, yeah, the story is mainly geared around Ned, but I wanted to obviously have some other characters in there that kind of, as you say, complement his character. And but again, I wanted to sort of kind of use, I suppose, animals, obviously, because Ned being a giraffe, I kind of wanted to keep that as a theme running throughout. And the two characters, Mimi and Budarelli, are actually loosely based, shall I say, on my two children. My daughter, when she was a little bit younger, was fascinated by meerkats, and my little boy has always been fascinated by elephants. So Mimi is, in fact, a meerkat, and Budarelli is an elephant. They're both kind of small in size, and I suppose they're kind of like my children's characteristics, more so when they were a little bit younger. They were both kind of a little bit mischievous at times, curious about different things. And I think that's kind of where Mimi and Budarelli's sort of characteristics come in. As I say, they're loosely based on my children. And yeah, just willing to be explore the world, I guess, but a little bit shy at the same time. I think that's the best way to describe them.
I mean, it's a really cute idea with basing characters on not only people you know, as well as your children, just basing them on real life people as well, because a lot of the times it's always, if it's not that, then it's perhaps someone like if you ever randomly go people watching, for example,
Yeah,
and you're just like, if you were a character, you'd have
yeah,
like such and such characteristic and sort of
exactly. Yeah.
it honestly,
Um,
I love it when that sort of does occur with books because it sort of just makes it, I don't know, relatable in a sense.
It does, and I think it helps as a writer to kind of then you've got that basis. You're not trying to think up of how they may react to something. You can then base it on the character that you've kind of built it upon. So I mean, their names also kind of come from my children as well. My daughter was named kind of when she was younger by her best friend at school. She called her Mimi. That's not her actual name. Her name's Mia. So, but she was called Mimi. And then my little boy is Archie. But we, in fact, for a lot of the time, have called him Bud for whatever reason. I don't know. It's just a name that's stuck with him ever since he was a baby. So, and obviously, I put together that name of Bud, and obviously Ellie being elephant, and created the name Budarelli. So,
It's a cute way of doing it. And also when they grow up now, it's like, well, I got to feature in a book.
Yeah, exactly.
With Ned's curiosity and determination driving the plot forward, is there a perhaps a deeper message that you hope readers will take away from the journey to solve perhaps the topsy-turvy mystery?
Yes, I think I always wanted to kind of not have a hidden message to the story because I think that's to try and force that in there, I think is a difficult way to write. So obviously I wanted the book just to be enjoyable, to be creative, to spark imagination in children's and obviously older people who are reading the book to others. So I guess it was the hidden meaning would be like to, not fear that anything anything in front of you, whatever's round the corner, whatever's causing something to happen that may be out of your control, it's kind of face things head on. You may be able to solve an issue that's there, but if you kind of hide away from it, it's not going to go away. It's that kind of meaning, and I guess it's kind of getting children to understand that it's okay to talk about it and ask for help, I guess, if it's something that they can't achieve themselves. And I think that's kind of the message I want to get across. And that will kind of be a continuous theme in the books that hopefully follow. So it's all about that friendship and working together, I guess. If you can't solve something on your own, then ask for help. It's just as simple as that, I think it's, but in a fun way, without it being too serious, because I wanted to aim the book at kind of 3 to 8 year old children, but obviously be enjoyed by younger ones, and then obviously older children and adults, teachers, things like that. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I guess that's the kind of thing that I want readers to take from it.
And also, if your friends are helping you along the way, you can definitely have some fun while you're at
Exactly. Yeah, completely agree.
it. And also, it makes for really, really, really funny memories because
Yeah.
yeah, I've got enough memories to last my childhood. Did you face any challenges when, writing a fantastical story?
Probably the main challenges have been obviously having never written a book before is probably the main challenge to get over. Having an idea is great, but taking that idea from start to middle to finish, I've never really, even with this one and the ones that follow, which I've written 4 of at the moment, I'm on the 5th one. I've never known where the ending is actually going to be. I kind of understand what I want to go on in the middle, but so I think to write the story and kind of trying to find my way to the end was probably the biggest challenge. And then I guess the second one was probably because it's a rhyming book, is to always be able to make that work along with the storyline, is finding those words that fit in, that children will understand, and yeah, for it to make sense without me kind of squeezing words or sentences in there or grammar in there that just doesn't really make sense. And I really do believe that I've achieved that. And yeah, I love writing rhyming stuff, always have done, and it just seems to have worked.
Hmm. When you write a story, do the rhymes just sort of come to you as you're going along then?
Yeah, a lot of the time. Then sometimes, I may get to a point where I need to find an alternative word. I don't like to kind of use the same rhymes more than once really throughout the story. So if I've kind of used a word that rhymes with well, maybe, or cave, something like that, then later on in the book, if I'm coming back to that kind of similar element in the story, I will look to use an alternative word and alternative rhyming word with it. So yeah, it's not an easy thing, but it just seems to flow in my brain somehow.
I don't know, honestly, it's a really, really good thing because it's always interesting to see, especially with all the Untold chapter episodes that we do with different authors. It's interesting to see how different people approach, the stories that they have written. Because obviously you've
Yeah.
also got different genres with yours being a children's book and then another's being an adult book. So it's always interesting to see what that approach is. Is it like a puzzle piece or just a puzzle in general, where you piece the outside like a basic storyline outline
Yeah.
already, and then you're just sort of fuddling your way through the middle, just like, see what,
Piecing it together, yeah,
yeah.
it just seems to come naturally. I mean, I'm lucky because I work as well as a creative copywriter. I also work in the trades, and I'm a renderer and plasterer. So a lot of the time when I'm working outside, I may be working on my own, but that time then gives me the freedom to let my creative brain wander. And depending on where I'm working and the kind of surroundings, a lot of the things elements that have come into the story have been places that I've been or just what I can see in front of me. You know, I may be sitting on the roof of someone's house looking out over amazing views, and something from that will stick in. And so I'll come home, note it down, and then it'll end up in the story somehow, maybe a little bit twisted and changed a little. But yeah, I certainly pick up different things from different places I visit. So.
Sort of like your own souvenir, but also, especially when you make it your own. But in the moment, you just like, yeah, I'm just going to write that one down just in case I
Yeah,
forget.
absolutely. Oh, as you say earlier, it's like people watching. You meet people, or I might speak to someone, and they may have some characteristic about them, and I think, oh yeah, actually, I like that. I want to add that in somewhere, or they may say something, or like a lot of the place names in the books they're probably the hardest thing for children to read. Um, but the first story, The Right Way Up, is set in a place called Somewhere Close By, and often people will ask me, how did you come up with that? And my answer's always been somewhere close by is actually my creative brain. It's my mind, and it's somewhere close by to me. So it can be whatever I want it to be. That's the way I came up with it. So, and that's the way I wanted to sort of name all the different places. They were just a little bit different.
So, speaking of somewhere close by being, your creative brain, so if you could spend a day in any of the locations that you noted in your book, where would it be?
Good question. I think it would probably be one of the characters' homes, probably. I mean, Ned's home of his cave is very minimalistic, which is something I like. I think it's kind of that whole blank canvas feel that it gives you. So maybe, yeah, something like that to just allow me to creatively think. I'd like to spend. Budarelli's home is called the Hidden Well, and you don't actually find out a lot about it in this book. But I mean, that's somewhere that's quite interesting and different. And yeah, and I like the toffee mud mound that Mimi lives in as well. Yeah, just I'm quite a homely person as well, so maybe that's my tendency to lean towards those areas. uh, yeah, just to find, I guess, different what the inspiration that they'll drive.
Well, I mean, a lot of people say there's no place better than home.
Exactly that.
It's honestly is one of the best places because obviously it's where you're most comfortable, and a lot of the times it is where probably a lot of people find quite a lot of creativity because like you were saying with a more minimalistic look, it's like a blank canvas. You never know
Yes,
what you're going to find, what you're going to be inspired by. You
exactly.
might even be, I don't know, looking out the window and I don't know, see a hummingbird or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so it's always life's next adventure the next day.
Yeah.
For anyone perhaps looking to write their own book or not sure where to start or anything along those lines, do you have any words of advice for them?
I guess it's always having, I guess, I mean, modern day, if you've got your phones with you or anything like that, so it's quite easy to capture, your ideas. I mean, yeah, I use my phone absolutely, but I still have notebooks at home, and that's where all my stories are written, pen and paper. And I guess it's, whatever you see, whatever crazy idea, however small it is, just write it down. And, if it's writing a story or any kind of creative thing, just to keep those ideas, because, if you don't, then they can easily disappear and you'll kick yourself one day if you thought, somebody else then gets ahead of you. So I guess, yeah, just make a note of it, and who knows? I mean, I had this story or the idea years ago, and I wrote the story quite a long time ago, and it wasn't until I revisited it and sort of tweaked things here and there that the whole thing progressed. So, um, and I've got so many more crazy ideas, but I always write them down because I don't want to lose them, and just, yeah, you never know what will happen.
Good way of doing it, really. Sort of in a way, you can make like I don't know, like a little brainstorm page in your notebook or something. Because to be
Yeah,
honest, I use the notes app on my phone quite a lot just in case. Because I mean, it's like you say, you never know what you're going to remember and what you're going to forget. So write it down if you can, and then go from there.
exactly. And I think it just frees up that space in your mind, doesn't it? It's like rather than just keeping it up there and then yeah, getting it crowded out and lost. So
And you never know, it could be your next adventure.
it could be.
Well, thank you so much for featuring on an episode of Untold Chapters and sharing the inspiration behind your book and taking a look beyond the chapters and sharing that with us. But
No, you're welcome. It's been enjoyable.
oh, thank you so much.